Welcome to This Explainer. I am so incredibly thrilled you're tuning in today because we are going to crack a code together that has literally frustrated office workers for decades. We're talking about the hidden, highly logical machine thinking behind dates and times in Excel. Okay, let's dive right into this. Because, look, we've literally all been there. Have you ever typed a perfectly normal date into your spreadsheet, proudly hit enter, and just watched it magically transform into a completely random 5-digit number? It's a universally frustrating experience that makes you think you somehow broke the software. But what if I told you that is actually a feature, not a bug? Today, we are going to master this feature. So here is our roadmap. 1. Excel's secret date logic. 2. Essential date and time tools. 3. Calculating your deadlines. 4. Taming the timesheet. And 5. Fixing common formatting mistakes.
All right, section 1. Excel's secret date logic.
Okay, so there's a really profound disconnect here between humans and computers. We humans see months, days, years, like the 17th of August, 2026. But Excel doesn't actually see a calendar at all. It just sees sequential whole numbers. It literally just counts days forward from a hidden starting point. So that seemingly random 5-digit number you sometimes get, that's just the actual number of days that have passed in its internal sequence. And honestly, understanding this sequential counting, that's the ultimate secret to doing math with dates. And this exact same logic extends right into the hours and minutes of our day. If a whole, complete day is represented by a single whole number, then time values, they're simply stored as a fraction of that one day. Think about it logically for a second. 12 p.m. is exactly halfway through the day, right? So to Excel, noon is mathematically just 0.50. 6 a.m. would be a quarter of the day, or 0.25. It's actually elegantly simple once you see the pattern.
Moving on to section 2, essential date and time tools. You've got to check out these two absolute powerhouse functions, equals today and equals now. The today function gives you, well, the current date, and the now function returns the current date plus the exact time. Notice something kind of unique here, though? They both have empty parentheses at the end. That's simply because they don't need you to feed them any arguments. They just reach out and grab your system's current time. And the best part is they update automatically whenever your workbook recalculates. It's an absolute game changer for dynamic reports. But what if you need to lock in a specific unchanging date? Manually typing dates can honestly lead to disastrous misunderstandings, especially if you're dealing with different regional formats. So the totally foolproof way is using the date function. You just start with equals date, open your parentheses, feed it the year, then the month, then the day as separate numbers, and close it up. By structuring it strictly as 2026, 8, 17, Excel will literally never misinterpret what day you mean. And hey, we can perform the exact reverse action too. Say you have a date sitting in cell A2 and you need to pull it apart. You just use these extraction functions. Equals day extracts just the 17, equals month pulls out the 8, and equals year separates out the 2026. This is absolutely crucial when you're staring at a massive list of records and you suddenly need to group everything strictly by month or year. All right, section 3, calculating your deadlines. Let's look at an everyday office problem solved effortlessly. Because dates are basically just sequential numbers behind the scenes, calculating a future deadline is literally just basic addition. Say we have a start date of August 17th and we're allowed 10 days for the task. We just tell Excel to add the cell with the 10 to the cell with our start date, and boom, it instantly calculates a due date of August 27th. No counting on your fingers, no flipping through desk calendars. And you know, this logic builds in the exact opposite direction as well. If you want to know how long a project took, you're looking for elapsed dates. You just take the end date and subtract the start date. Subtracting an older date from a newer one instantly spits out the exact number of days that have passed. But, and hey, this is a really critical warning, Excel sometimes tries to be a little too smart and formats your simple answer as a weird random date. If that happens, remember, you just need to manually format that result cell explicitly as a number. Now let's combine this math with the functions we learned earlier to track days remaining. If you subtract the today function from your deadline, you essentially get a dynamic countdown. A positive result means you still have days left in the future. A negative result? Well, actually scratch that. It means the deadline has completely passed and you are officially past due. Yikes. Okay, section 4, taming the timesheet.
Calculating hours worked confuses almost everyone, but we're going to systematically break it down. Take Maya's timesheet, for example. She clocked in at 8 a.m.,
took her lunch break from 12 to 1 p.m., and then clocked out at 5 p.m. To find her total working time, we just apply logical subtraction. We take her final time out minus her initial time in. That gives us her total elapsed time on site. Then, we just subtract her lunch duration. So mathematically, Maya worked exactly 8 hours. But this is the exact moment where we usually get incredibly frustrated. We hit enter expecting to see a nice, clean 8. But instead, because Excel stores time as a fraction of a day, it spits out this tiny useless decimal value instead of the 8 hours you desperately need to send over to payroll.
Well, the number 24 is your magic multiplier here. Because the raw math gives you a fraction of a one-day cycle, you must take that entire time difference calculation and multiply it by 24. This single, simple step converts that weird fraction into standard, readable decimal hours.
Let's see the whole shebang in action across the team. Here's the final, perfectly formatted timesheet logic. The formula is time out minus time in minus the break, all safely wrapped up in parentheses, right? And then multiplied by 24. Now, Maya shows exactly 8.00 hours, and Lynn shows exactly 8.50 hours. The decimal problem, completely solved. All right, wrapping things up with Section 5, fixing common formatting mistakes.
Listen, usually your underlying math isn't actually wrong. Excel just needs a quick manual fix to the cell formatting. So, rapid fire. If you want a date but it displays as a massive number, the correction is to simply apply a date format. Conversely, if you calculated elapsed days but it displays as a weird date, just change the cell to a number format. And if your cell ever returns a weird string of hashtags, don't panic. The column is literally just too narrow to show the data. Just widen the column to reveal your perfectly correct answer.
And that brings us to the end of our deep dive. Realizing that dates are just sequential numbers and times are just fractions of a day, that unlocks massive potential for your workflow. So I'll leave you with this provocative question to think about. How much time could you save this week by letting Excel do all the calendar math for you? Don't just manually count days on a wall calendar anymore. Apply these tools, track your deadlines dynamically, and tame those timesheets once and for all. Keep learning, and I'll catch you on the next explainer.